wrong people. There we go.
Welcome to Psionic Aftermath. We are here with a show match between Dust and MisterEvely. It will be a TVP. Our first map is going to be Acid Plant. And I am joined by...
Skizia. Yes. Can they hear me? Is it set up?
Yes, they should be able
great.
to.
Haven't really done this before, but it'll be fun to cast this.
Yeah.
When you invited me to Temple Run, I was expecting an easy jog, not
Have you had a chance to see either of them play before?
Yeah, so MisterEvely is a good friend of mine, and so I was the one who introduced him to StarCraft like 7 years ago, and we've been playing together since. So I know him pretty well. Dust, I don't know, however.
Okay. Dust is pretty new. I want to say joined in like less than a week from today. To the clan, that is.
Yeah.
I've played 1v1 with both of them. Lost to both of them enough times. Except when cannon rushing. Because that's like the only thing I can do.
Alright, well, looks like the players are about ready if we want to get this rolling.
Sounds good.
It's like, Jet, did you invite him or is he just joined?
He's just joining because...
Okay.
He wants a front row seat, I suppose.
The stream good to go?
Yep.
Alright, let's see if these players are ready. Sure they're still ready after having been ready before. So you play Protoss, so you should be at least somewhat familiar with this matchup. I'm going to be a little bit out of my element as a Zerg player, but...
Yeah, I know very little about Terran, but Protoss is... I mean, I don't play Standard, but I know all the Standard stuff, more or less. Okay, I'm probably most Standard in PvT of the matchups. So that's at least something, right?
Yeah. Well, Dust seems to have left the party or something. Not entirely sure what's going on.
He left the party, but he's still in the lobby. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like no chat option. He requested to rejoin, but it doesn't seem to have... And it says he's offline here.
Oh.
Despite him being in the lobby chat. Okay, what's going on?
Maybe you need to kick him and re-invite him?
Maybe? Okay, let's try this. Okay. Here.
Okay.
Some little technical difficulties, it looks like.
Maybe we need to just remake the whole thing?
Let me see. Okay. Yeah, if this doesn't work, we might have to remake the game. Okay.
Dust has died, apparently.
Okay, well, let's rehost this lobby.
Excellent.
Okay. Dust is in the party, so hopefully this will work for him. It sounds like he might be having some connection issues or something.
Maybe he has to log out and log back in or something.
Yeah, maybe. He
StarCraft
was
is
able to rejoin the party after he left,
Oh,
but now it's not.
well, I don't know.
Now he's not responding to my PMs, so. I don't know if he's on Discord, if that might work.
Well, he said something.
Okay, yeah, he went back offline now. Well, we'll see if MisterEvely comes back from his break. Hopefully Dust is back connected.
You should probably kick him from the party so you can re-invite later.
Oh, yeah. What is this being streamed on?
The Psionic Aftermath main channel.
Okay. Hopefully he's able to get back connected and everything.
Yeah, hopefully.
StarCraft can definitely be finicky with these sorts of things.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for MisterEvely, it is not a Zerg. Just looking at his statistics.
Yeah, these Zerg cheeses I know have been giving him some trouble this season. Given how much of the ladder in Diamond 1 is Zerg, that can be pretty bad for your win rate.
Yeah.
It looks like getting about the same Zerg in Terran, so we'll see. But hopefully his PBT is feeling a little better today.
other side of things, it looks like Dust struggles in his mirror matchup, but so I mean, it looks like for both players, this matchup is like neither their strongest nor their weakest matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very like on paper even, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens, I guess.
Okay. Dust is back in the party. Let's see if he's okay. There we go.
Internet
Okay.
went out. Excellent.
At least better that happened before than during.
Yes, this is true. Like in the middle of this like big fight after you've been macering for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. So, I don't want to play you, but rather I want these people to play. Make this perhaps, if necessary. Okay, everything looks good. Are you ready?
Yes.
Alright, then let's go.
Hey Snoopy, I saw your message. Maybe I'll get the overlay next time. Don't want to bother with it right now, but for future things that would be good. Since I pretty much almost never use the verses. Well, I do. Yeah, anyway. Alright. Acid Plant. TVP.
Yep.
So, spawning in the upper left-hand corner of the map as the blue Protoss, it is MisterEvely.
And in the bottom right corner, the red Terran player, it is Dust. So far, no proxy gateways. or proxy barracks, it looks like, so.
It would be pretty early for that.
Yeah, well, you could have an SCV on the net.
That's true, I guess. But still, the first gateway is usually at home, I think.
Well, I mean, if not, if you're proxy. Well, if you're just
I guess
doing
if you proxy all
barrels,
4 of them.
Yeah.
Or all 3 of them, however many you're committing. But,
Mm-hmm.
the more common is, like, 2 gateways, 1 at home,
Yeah,
1
yeah.
proxied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probe scout coming across the map, and it's like an SCV scout running out too. So both players are gonna get a little bit of info what's going on. MisterEvely will see the barracks just about finishing up in the gas. It does get in before depot can go down or anything. Now the Reaper coming down, and it looks like Dust will be starting his command center soon, probably. And the next has just gone down for MisterEvely. So pretty standard game so far, it looks like.
Right on. So, you said you've spent a good amount of time with MisterEvely. How would you categorize his playstyle?
Well, so, I mean, it depends a little bit. I think he sometimes... So he, kind of like me, has been playing pretty intermittently for a long time.
Okay.
You know, we both started playing back in, like, 2011, and taken a bunch of breaks since, and that sort of thing. And so, obviously, when you're playing intermittently, it's pretty easy to come back and just cheese, because you don't know all of the fancy meta strategies.
Sure.
So, I would say that he probably tends a bit more towards cheese strategies lately, but we've both been playing a bunch more lately. And he's been, definitely working on relearning some of those standard strategies. So I think he can definitely play a standard game too.
Alrighty.
Now with the fast Twilight, I think Blank looks like what he'll probably be going for here.
Yeah.
These blink builds are pretty popular against Terran, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3-gate blink into a third, and then you get your fast forges. Everyone likes it, it seems.
Yep. And there's the blink started.
Some people will get the robo beforehand, some people will just go, like, blink only. Looks kind of blink only, because he would have dropped his robo were he going to.
Uh-huh. Meanwhile, we see a bunch of Marines and Widow Mines coming out from Dust, so we might see a Widow Mine drop here. This Star Report finishes and pumps out a medevac.
Yeah.
Or we could see some of these, just Widow Mines sitting around. The Widow Mines can be nice to burrow in random positions and try and kill an Oracle, for example.
Yeah, I think he likes his Widow Mine drop for this matchup. I've only played, like, 1 game against us, so that's not saying very much. But,
Yeah, I think a lot of Terran players definitely like the Widow Mine opening. It's nice, especially in some of the lower leagues where you can have a decent chance of, just blowing up 20 probes or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20 probes with 2 Widow Mines, but you can get a lot of probes with Widow Mines if your opponent isn't paying attention. And it just gives you a nice sort of aggressive early start to the game.
Maybe you get 9 with your Widow Mines, and if you're lucky, Protoss is on the other side of the map, and you have 4 Marines also in that medevac that are at the other mineral line.
Yeah. Looks like this time, though, it'll just be the 2 Widow Mines in the medevac, and the Marines are going to be staying at home. So, we'll have to see. The Stalkers are all in the natural, but there's a probe. Okay, there's a probe going down to the 3rd. That won't see it, and it looks like the Observer is not rallied in quite the right direction. So, and the Stalker's starting to move out. This could be pretty dangerous if MisterEvely doesn't see this coming on the minimap.
Yeah, I think this is going to catch him off guard. Well, actually, we're not getting the drop quite yet.
Looks like it's just waiting for a bit.
Probably doing some macro things at home somewhere.
This is a lot of Stalkers, though, and right now it's only Marines at home. I guess one Siege Tank and a Raven now coming out should help a bit if that tank can get sieged up in a good position. Oh, the Widow Mine's coming in. Ooh, 11 probes.
Okay.
That's pretty painful. And 1 Stalker on a slow warp in. That's a pretty painful pylon position there behind the mineral line. Doesn't actually get them to warp and speed up.
These Marines need to back off towards the tank, but they're not doing so. And now the tank is exposed.
Yeah, I think he could blink on that. There's only 1 Marine and a Raven on top of that. I guess auto turrets can be kind of scary, but
I think he just wants to put pressure. He's not thinking about that aspect.
Yeah, after losing all those probes, it's kind of painful. But at the same time, you can see the work count's close to even now. And since he has 3 Nexi, he's going to be able to pump out probes pretty quickly and should be able to get back into an economic advantage here. They did clean up the Widow Mine so that they're not going to be a threat anymore. So it's painful, something. But I think it's still a playable position for both sides.
Yeah.
But maybe a bit of an advantage to Dust now.
It would be even a nicer advantage had he kept his Marines back by his tank, but as it is, he'll just transition from here, I suppose. He doesn't have a 3rd starting yet, so I'm thinking he wants to go for some sort of 2-base. I'm gonna put all in quotes.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of this sort of play actually that you occasionally see from Terran players, where they just sort of stick to 2 bases and make a bunch of units, and then eventually that you just can even just lift your main command center to the 3rd base.
Sure.
And keep it up, where it's just a pretty aggressive style, where you're not focusing too much on the economy and you just really want to get all those units out.
Yeah.
So if that's what Dust is going for, you can see he's got a pretty big army supply lead already.
He's actually going to start his 3rd with his SCV on location.
Yeah, so he's going to get just a late 3rd instead of no 3rd at all. Yeah. But still, he's got a lot of units for that, with this tank and a bunch of Marines, Marauders, Widow Mines, and Liberators coming out now. And we'll have to see if MisterEvely is going to be able to defend this. He has some observers out, but they're not too far forward. Actually, no, he does have an observer seeing this move out and actually dies because of the Raven. That's a little painful. So he knows this is coming, and he knows that he needs to warp in a bunch of units right now.
getting some Archons. He has 3 sentries, so he certainly has some, like, ability to hold this, but he doesn't have any charge lots yet. And, charges will be complete by the time of this engagement. At least it should.
Oh, if he can snipe this Liberator. Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah.
And that Siege Tank getting forced to siege up way behind. That's going to really slow down the push.
There's a healthy number of Widow Mines here, though. So if they can get some good connections... those are not bad.
A lot of bio units still doing a lot of damage. The supply is really in favor of Dust here. It's like got twice the army supply of MisterEvely. And he lost basically all the tech units.
Actually, I don't know how he's supposed to hold this now, because the Liberators, there's 2 of them plus that tank, and he's like backed into this long corridor where he really can't engage this correctly.
Yeah, this looks like it may be soon end to this game.
He gets pretty much one Liberator at least, but he's gonna tap out.
GG. So that'll put Dust up 1-0 in the series. And we'll have to see what our next map is going to be. So, are we doing loser's pick for the maps, or how's that going?
I was not here for that discussion.
Okay, I think we'll do loser's pick if it hasn't been explicitly decided.
Yeah, that's fine.
Looks like MisterEvely wants Catalyst for the next game.
Given the style that MisterEvely played, I think Catalyst is perhaps one of the best maps for it. If not the best. I mean, Acid Plant isn't bad either, but I think Acid Plant works better when you go Robo first. It's kind of hard to get the vision you want on Acid Plant without the Robo.
Yeah, it's got all those different paths you can go around, and I guess you just sort of have the one main in the center, but yeah, there just sort of weren't quite enough units out. Okay, let's see. Okay, looks like we're good. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get going.
Alright, spawning in the upper left as the blue Protoss, it is MisterEvely.
And his opponent will be again in the bottom right, the red Terran, Dust. So I'm curious to see if MisterEvely changes up what he's going to do this game, and kind of similarly for Dust. You know, you would imagine that the player that wins might typically want to just keep doing what works, basically. But, you know, when you lose, that may motivate you to try out something a little bit different.
I feel like with this map choice, like, it suggests he's gonna do the same thing and just try to have better, like, drop defense. And then, depending on how this game goes, he might change it. Because I feel like if he were going to do something different, he might have picked a different map, because this map feels like perhaps the best map for the pure blink style.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine that if through that whole game he just had 11 more probes, he would have had way more units. And probably would have had a good chance. Okay, so what we see here, I know this is something that he likes to do. He's building a Zealot at the gateway.
Oh, okay.
And So the idea here is that you want to try and run across the map with a zealot and then a stalker and push back the command center.
I did the same thing myself, except I oftentimes build this gateway on the low ground, and then I get a second pylon, and my Cyber completes my Reaper ledge. So this is this SCV scout is good for Dust in that.
Yeah, for sure. Seeing the zealot is really big there because you don't normally build a zealot. A little bit supply block looks like that pylon's a bit late, but
right. So that's part of why you're supposed to have that second pylon, I think. Also, now that I think about it, I did this already too. When I played Dust, I did this to him, so he may feel pretty comfortable at this point now that he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, and it looks like his reaction was pretty great there. He got the Reaper out on the map to intercept the Zealot and prevent it from running across, so it wasn't able to get to the command center, and there's going to be a bunker done with a Marine by the time any of MisterEvely's units get here. And that's going to make it very difficult for him to do any real damage.
The CC's too far gone. He can't even run past to cancel that, so all in all, this has not panned out too well for...
No, and now the Reaper's in his base and there's no units here. So that's going to be even more of a pain. So not a great start for MisterEvely here.
He's gonna lose a probe?
Reaper's not really focus firing very well.
Yeah!
He definitely could have gotten at least one probe there, but he just sort of shot 3 different probes at least, and wasn't able to kill any of them.
Okay.
So that's definitely good.
Dust is being merciful.
But it looks like he's doing pretty much the same exact thing here, getting those Widow Mines out, you know.
Yeah.
Getting that Starport, and probably will go for the Widow Mine drop again. You have to imagine that after losing a bunch of probes in the first game, hopefully MisterEvely's going to be thinking about that, and hopefully we'll be prepared to react to it on time and not lose a bunch of probes.
And he is going to get that blink, and probably a 3rd gas, and take his 3rd shortly thereafter.
Yeah, so it looks like basically, with the exception of the early gateway unit rush, probably a pretty similar idea for the game plan here. For
actually,
yeah, it's still a lot of gateways.
I'm not exactly sure where he's going with this.
Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a 7-gate point all-in, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's only got 2 gases though. It feels like I'm not a Protoss player, but it feels
no,
like
you need one more gas. Okay. I mean, he has the probes. He stopped at like 19 on his natural, so that's correct for the gas. But I guess he's forgotten his gas.
Yeah, I don't know. And he doesn't have a robo or a proxy pylon, so I'm not sure how aggression is going to really happen here.
Yeah, this is a little bit weird. Maybe, you know, I think this is like, he feels a little bit flustered from last game, and so now he's trying this.
The proxy pylon probe actually might get spotted by the medevac. It does. I don't know if Dust is going to notice here. He does notice that could really clue him in onto what's happening. But if MisterEvely noticed and Dust didn't, then he would be maybe prepared for the Widow Line.
Well, he moved his probe as if he noticed, but then he doesn't. And then he warped in his main, but then those 3 stalkers left.
Yeah.
This is very strange.
Okay, Dust knows what's happening now. He sees all these stalkers. He needs to pull some SCVs probably to repair that bunker. The siege tank just here barely in time. The bunker goes down. So you definitely really want to have the SCVs on that. Siege tank's going to go down. The Raven goes down. Auto turret goes down. Now it's just Marines against Blink Stalkers. That's not a really good fight.
Yeah, this is not looking bad for our blue Protoss. The Widow Mine drop is coming back as if it were to help defend. I'm not exactly sure.
But now it's going back towards MisterEvely's base, so some
okay, so I guess it was an F2.
Play from Dust there. Oh, it could just be that too. But a few SCVs kind of head forward. Still Dust not trying to throw down any additional bunkers either, and he's way down in army supply. And still doesn't have anything but Marines. I have a really hard time seeing him holding this. And it doesn't look like the Widow Mines, which came in there and distracted MisterEvely for a moment, they didn't do anything really either. Well, they might actually get some clips here.
Good blink on top of all the Marines. There is a
Yeah,
Marauder, but one Marauder versus how many Stalkers? I don't think that...
They didn't buff the Marauders that much. And that's going to be GG. So MisterEvely is going to bring it back, tied up 1-1 with a 7-gate blink all in.
Yeah, I forgot to do the score. I did the score last game where it didn't matter, and then... But yes, we're now at 1-1.
Alright. Let's see what our next map is going to be. Alright, Lost and Found. So nice big one here.
I feel like Lost and Found is a really good map for just standard play. It's really easy to take your first 3 bases.
Mm-hmm.
And then your 4th is a little bit awkward regardless of which 4th you want to take. But it's like... it's doable, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So, okay. Are you ready to start?
Yep.
Yeah, so after both of our last 2 games were decided by these big 2-base pushes, basically, obviously, MisterEvely's was more of a all-in than Dust, who did have a 3rd command center behind it. But it's still basically been 2-base attacks that have won each of the first 2 games.
Yeah, MisterEvely did drop his 3rd after his initial push-in.
Yeah, but I mean, he basically won the game by that point.
Right.
I think it was pretty all-in there.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But maybe this game we'll see some actual, 3-base plus macro play.
Fingers crossed, right? Spawning in the upper right as the red Protoss. Winning the last game with a blink all in, it is MisterEvely.
And his opponent is the now blue Terran in the bottom left, Dust, who will be trying to get back the momentum after losing game number 2. So, yeah, curious what to see we'll have this game. So, Dust has done the same style both of the first 2 games now. And, orked in game number 1, but ended up falling to the all-in in game number 2. And so, I don't know, if this is just sort of the way he plays, or if he has some options here that he might want to try something else. We'll have to see.
Yeah, he mentioned that on the ladder he only uses one TVP build. But, who knows? Maybe he picked something up between whenever that was and now, or maybe he has some other build that he, like, in his back pocket that he almost never uses, so he doesn't count it as a ladder build. But yeah.
It's like we won't be seeing that fast gateway unit rush this game after it didn't pan out that last game, and I think that's probably a good idea. We know that Dust likes to do this SCV scout that really clues him in as to what's going on, so that probably isn't the right build to do against this particular opponent. So a good adaptation here.
Yeah, I mean, part of it also was he ran his Zealot straight through the middle, and when you go for that Zealot first, other than having it on the low ground for just a little bit faster, you kind of want it to take a path that the Reaper is not going to take.
Yeah, it's kind of like you run into the same thing when doing early pools in ZVT.
Sure.
Where you want to run your Lings around the map so they don't get caught by the Reaper on the way there. Although, of course, nowadays, Terrans, SCV scout a bunch. It used to be that Terrans would usually only scout with the first Reaper, and so those strategies could be pretty good. But nowadays, not so much. But, of course, this is a PvT, so we don't need to go into too much detail about ZVT meta. Reaper coming in, but the Stalker's here, so I think MisterEvely will be okay. And he does deny vision of the Twilight Council in the back of his base. That's good. So Dust won't know for sure, because he could, in theory, be going for like a Stargate. He hasn't yet, and I don't know if that's an opening that he really does. But of course, Dust would still have to be keeping an eye out for that. We actually see a probe out on the map too.
Yeah. It hasn't. It's just been chilling there. It hasn't done anything. But
maybe he's just going to go in for a late scout.
Probably.
Doesn't look like it's going to drop a proxy
way.
pylon. Yeah.
There's a Marine, but
Oh, he didn't stutter step the Marine, so the probe does get in. It just sees the 111 production opening. And meanwhile, we just have the blank opening again for MisterEvely. But will he take a third? Or will he go for the 7 gate? Or will he do something else? This is, I guess, what we have to keep an eye out for this game. So, Science he doesn't like where that pylon's positioned. Moves it back a little bit. And it does look like Dust is going for the same strategy again. So this may just be his go-to build. And I think, as far as a go-to build goes, this is a pretty decent one.
Sure. Reaper is going to come in for a scout at like 4 minutes, and it sees everything looks pretty standard. It doesn't see excessive gateways, so that may be something that makes him feel safe. But we don't see a probe moving out to take a third either, so this is a little bit curious.
And he does drop a bunker, I guess, seeing that 2-base play. The Widowmine's also going to come in and get another scout on, but there isn't really anything to be scouted. MisterEvely floating a lot of money, actually. He's at 1,000 minerals right now.
Okay, he is going to take his third just a little bit later than... I guess he decided to get his 2 gases and a good number of stalkers first.
Okay, does he see the Widowmines coming in? Yes, he does. Can he split the probes up? 3... Okay, and the other one actually unburrows.
Okay, that was interesting.
Now he's going to...
Oh, now he realized he still had a shot.
But that one's not going to do anything. Okay, so only 4 probes in total. A lot of mining time. But she does need to get those probes back to work. He actually sent all of the stalkers up to the north side to try and intercept this medevac, and it does have blink. So, looks like he's actually going to be able to pick that off. That's really nice to pick that off in return for the 4 workers.
Yeah, I'd take that. That's nice. Yeah. I would be very happy with that position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think the amount of mining time lost was a bit more than he needed, but definitely a good trade on the end. Although, if you look at it, he's actually down in the worker count now, which is not something you really want as Protoss against Terran. So that's not great. But if he keeps producing those workers, and his 3rd Nexus is going to be done, and again we see the 3rd CC just now starting from Dust in his main. Actually, he should be able to get back to a worker lead. Oh, Widowmine here actually is able to kill a stalker. Don't really want that to happen when you have blink, but reasonable mistake. And these stalkers are not going to get anything done against the bunker and the siege tank.
Alright, so we're probably going to see that same push out come from Dust in a moment or two.
Yeah, we'll have to see how much of a difference the better Widowmine defense goes.
Yeah, and this time he'll be more expectant of it.
Yeah, so. Still working at a bunch of stalkers. Charge just starting now, which is maybe a little late. I'm not sure he's going to be able to have that done in time if the push is coming out soon.
Yeah, that is late for, just this build in general.
Yeah. It does have +2 started now, though, so that'll be nice. Good progress on the upgrades.
Yeah, if he chronos those forges, then he could have that for this fight, and that would be, I want to say game-winning for MisterEvely.
Yeah, he does have to get some some units warped in, though, before he falls too far down in army supply, and just chronoing the nexuses for probes. He's got a lot of probes. He doesn't really need more of those right now. As you said, chronoing the upgrades would be really big, allowing him to get that upgrade advantage really compounded, because +2/+2 hasn't even started for Dust yet. And obviously the bigger the upgrade advantage gets, the more it snowballs the fights, especially with these Protoss units that are quite powerful and really make good use of these upgrades. These observers keep flying into this army and just dying because there's a Raven. I do like having the Raven in the army. I think that's a cool little thing
we don't really see it a whole lot, and as long as you have it on a separate hotkey from your army so that it doesn't prioritize over stim, it can be really strong.
It looks like another observer is going to go down here. MisterEvely trying to take out those rocks to prevent that choke, because that's obviously really annoying to try and deal with a push with the siege tank behind it. It's really well defended, but he actually is going to flank around and attack from the back here. Maybe we'll see a warp in, but now Dust sees what's happening as the units are coming in to engage.
Yeah, this could go really nice for our Protoss if he can. Actually, he didn't have enough zealots, I think. Well,
here.
actually, no.
That Immortal coming in.
Yeah, the Immortal offering so much DPS, it looked really shaky for a second with like the lower zealot count, and like that was a patience blink, and I don't mean I don't mean that he was being patient.
Yeah, I know MisterEvely is a fan of Patience's style, so
Oh, okay.
maybe that's where he got it from. Or maybe he just likes blinking aggressively.
I think aggressive blinks like that is like can be so good, and on the flip side can be so dangerous.
Yeah. An observer here catches this drop going towards the main, so if MisterEvely noticed that and can get some stalkers warped in the main, that'll help him defend that a lot, although so far there aren't any stalkers there. But, actually, there isn't even +1 armor for Dust, is there? It's just +1 attack versus the +3/+3 on the way from MisterEvely.
Yeah, this this drop has to work a miracle, because if this continues to MisterEvely being on 4 bases and having AoE, I don't care what AoE, there's like...
Yeah, although there isn't... Oh, 17 probes went down in total there. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's...
Was there another drop or something? This push coming with the Liberators. And it's looking a little scary, because MisterEvely doesn't have a ton of army supply despite his good upgrades. But a lot of Archons, actually.
Those Widow Mines are really,
just died.
Yeah.
So fast, those
I think had he just staggered his Zealots ever so slightly, that would have made a pretty big difference. He does still have a lot that came down from the main, and there's... Okay, there is still like 1 Widow Mine. But this is gonna get cleaned up, and at this point, Protoss is stabilized, and things are looking grim for Dust. Like, he was really looking for like a kill on the 3rd or something, you know?
Yeah. I mean, he got a lot of probes there, and he's now, up in workers, but he's down in army supply, and that's his 1-1 army supply, or almost 1-1 against almost 3-3 of MisterEvely. So, I don't really know what you can do here at this point as Terran. Even though, there isn't any real AoE units besides the Archons, I think the upgrades are just going to be too good. I don't see Dust being able to hold this push.
That's a lot of Archons.
That's a lot of Archons.
I mean, nothing wrong with it.
And
I mean, had you gotten Storm, that would be better, but this is fine.
Yeah, they're good against the Widow Mines.
This is true. They soak up a lot.
Yeah, I think this has got to be it here. I don't see Dust holding this push.
No, there's too much Protoss. I mean, this is like a little bit swarmy, not like full swarm toss, but it has the ideas, right?
Yeah, and that'll be GG. So that'll put MisterEvely up 2-1 in this series.
Yeah, so some good adaptations. Kind of learning from his first 2 games. MisterEvely showing a lot of flexibility in his, like, same opener, right?
Yeah. And sort of adapting to those Widowmine drops, and he took a bunch of damage in game 1, but in the second 2 games that he won, he was able to hold that off a lot better.
Yeah.
The maps that are left are...
Yeah.
Okay, so Dreamcatcher will be our 4th game in the series.
Yeah, I feel like at this point it's like Dust has done the same build all 3 games, and if he has another build that he has practiced, now is the time to use it, right?
Yeah, if he doesn't win this one, there's no more chances.
Dreamcatcher, I think is good for his playstyle though, in that like there's a lot of places you can put that Siege Tank and Liberator when he pushes out. And
yeah.
There's a lot of ways he can abuse a map like Dreamcatcher.
Yeah. There are all these thin little cliffs. You can put a unit, Siege Tank behind them, for example, to protect it from Zealots. So we'll have to see if, Dust is familiar with this map and goes for that sort of thing.
Now, so maybe it's not necessarily that he has another build as much as it is that he has good map sense.
Yeah. Obviously, the features of the map don't mean much if you're not, thinking about them and actually using them to your advantage.
Right. Alright, well, spawning in the bottom right as the red Protoss, it is MisterEvely.
And in the top left, we have the blue Terran, Dust, who is now down 1-2, and so MisterEvely's on match point, and Dust is going to have to figure out what he needs to do different this game to bring it back and stop the series from ending with this game. Still no proxies. I was hoping for some proxies, but...
Well, we might still see one.
We might.
The natural is not down for either player yet, so... not that that's the end of the proxy phase, as much as it is the probability plummets severely after the expansion.
Yeah. But yeah, it's looked like both players have basically a build that they like to stick to, based on what we've seen so far this series. So I think there's a very good chance that we're just going to see, a Widowmine drop coming out from Dust and a Blink Stalker opening from MisterEvely.
Yeah, that's fair.
Both players have gotten some decent scouting info. There's an SCV going through MisterEvely's base, and MisterEvely has one of his probes sitting on the other side of the map that I think is going to wait around and go back in a little later. Make sure everything still looks normal. You have to be, careful in these series when your opponent does one thing 3 times in a row. You can't be too quick to assume that he's going to do it the 4th time. Or you can get, caught out pretty easily.
Sure. Reaper is going to come across now and cross paths with the SCV, kind of that high five. You've done your job, now I will do mine. Good grenade.
That's it for probe.
Get the probe. Stalker is out though, so that will end the, or at least usher the Reaper out of the base and end this initial harassment.
Yeah.
Reaper, of course, can come back in later, and after it perhaps confirms that there is or is not a third base.
Yeah, but since on this map there isn't a jump directly into the main, it's pretty difficult to get back into the main.
That's a very good point.
Unless the Stalkers are out of position in the natural.
It can still kind of go into the natural as like the Widowmine drop is hitting, so it kind of distracts.
Oh, looks like we are seeing a little bit of deviation going here from MisterEvely, who's dropping a Dark Shrine here.
Oh my.
I think, based on, my knowledge of how he likes to play, I think we're probably still going to see Blink here, but with just some Dark Templar thrown in to try and potentially do some damage. And, when you're up 2-1 in this series, that's really a good time to throw in this sort of variation. Because if you lose, you're still in it. But if you can throw your opponent off guard and grab a win, then you've just won the series.
I can't recall if we've seen Dust build, like, a blind missile turret at all.
He doesn't, but he likes to build that really fast rate.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So if he gets that out this game in good time, by the time the DTs are there, then that could be good. The medevac finishing up. Does he normally swap the starport onto that tech lab there?
Probably.
That would seem logical. But the Dark Shrine is almost finished, so I don't think the Raven's going to be out in time.
Yeah, it won't be out in time.
It's 2 DTs warping in here. Nice. One for each mineral line. To see. If Dust sees them coming and can catch them, like, on the ramp with the scan, for example, then now his attention might be a little diverted, because right now he's picking off and flying those Widow Mines across the map. So is he paying attention? He is?
He gets a scan, but it still slips
is he
by.
Get one? Okay.
Okay.
He is able to open the wall.
Yeah,
and the Raven's going to be out.
Okay, so I don't feel like these DTs really did what they were supposed to.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I wonder if MisterEvely was thinking about the fact that he'd seen this fast Raven from his opponent, because, okay, well, that's the DT actually. That might have been sort of a little mistake there from Dust, warping or using a second scan when the Raven is only seconds away.
I think it's fine. Like,
yeah, and that gets countered out by the third DT, which is going to get killed for free. The Raven.
Right. Like I agree in that, like, it's wasteful, but he's gotten the other 2 DTs already.
Yeah.
Or he's gotten the first DT. Like, he's taken no damage, so he can afford to kind of just play extra safe in a sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A bunch of SCVs actually stuck in the main. Looks like there's 5 of them.
Yeah, because the depot is raised and he hasn't quite. Ooh, that was a nice hit, all things considered.
Yeah. So MisterEvely's still up 2 probes, but that kind of takes away the one thing that he had going for him, because he's really down in army supply here. And Blink has only just started, so there's no chance that I think that he's going to have charge done in time. I guess it depends on how quickly Dust pushes, but I think that Dust has a good time here. This still. Okay, there they go. Finally back to mining. It depends on how quickly he pushes, but I think that this push is going to be extremely scary, unless MisterEvely can get a lot of units warped in really quickly. These Blink Stalkers are not great against, Marauders and Siege Tanks and stuff.
I'd like to see MisterEvely kind of chip away at his own rocks, not actually knock them down. But at least chip them away so that in the event that he needs to, he can just, like, one-shot the rocks and then...
Oh, looks like 6 more probes just got killed by a Widow Mine in the main.
Oh.
So that's pretty painful. That's going to bring it up to 15 probes killed in total this game, which is quite a few. You can see he's only at half the army supply. And what you were saying about the rocks, though, I think it's also ties into what we mentioned before about kind of map knowledge, because that's one of those map-specific things that you have to be really thinking about, but that can get you an advantage if you do. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wants this medevac. I can't blame him,
but he has no stalkers in the main, and the Widow Mine.
He's gonna get another shot off. Oh no!
Oh, 5 more. Yeah, MisterEvely really needed
This
this
is
to
a
be like
hero
these
widow
lines.
mine.
And now the push is coming, and the stalkers are all sitting on the bottom of the map, out of range of this medevac. But
I don't think this game could have gone much worse for our red Protoss.
yeah, this was a pretty painful all around. And these stalkers are so far out of position, and I think Dust probably he can maybe peek and see, but he's coming on the. He knows I think that they're way down there, so he's coming on the north side.
Research complete.
And MisterEvely just really kind of tunnel visioning here. Now I think he realizes that he needs the stalkers back towards his army, or towards his base, but they're nowhere near close enough, and the siege tank's going to be sieged up at the Nashville.
He's thinking about like Colossi or something, but that's eons away from this fight.
Yeah.
And the siege tank is going to siege on the low ground, Liberators on the ramps, excellent position, and the Widow Mines to cover the rear.
Yeah, these stalkers are going to really try here, but that's going to be GG. So Dust is going to tie it up 2-2. We're going to go to a game 5 in our series. That's exciting.
Alright, so you tried your DTs, they didn't work. I think we just discard that and go back to something that did work.
Yep.
Whatever that something is. I think... I don't think I like Blink All In for 16-bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you certainly can make it work because you can blink from, like, the Terran's 4th into their main, if you have high ground vision. But with the fact that there's always that Raven, that Observer is most likely going to be picked off, so I don't see... Or, actually, he doesn't even do it with the Robo, so I don't know how he would get the high ground vision unless he, like, open Stalker Sentry, and then has the hallucination energy for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I agree with you there. But
I'd like to see him, like, just go back to a macro opener and just build more, like, cannons to defend the drop, because the map is very droppable.
Yeah, or even if he just sort of splits up his stalkers, like he has a tendency to just have all 6 stalkers sitting at the front.
Sure.
If you have sort of 3 of them guarding each mineral line, for example.
Yeah.
Because Dust hasn't shown early, Hellion or any other sort of aggression that would actually require all the stalkers to be at the front.
That's a good point.
So that would be a nice little adaptation I think MisterEvely could make to really protect himself from those mine drops. Because that has, I think, been one of the biggest stories of this series. The games that Dust has won have been the games in which his mine drops have done a bunch of damage. And vice versa.
Right, that's very fair. Alright.
So, yeah, if MisterEvely can hold off the mine drop without too much damage, especially the upgrades, I think, have been the big thing. That Dust upgrades has not been anywhere close to MisterEvely's. And that is going to make the late game very difficult for him.
Sure. Well, we are at the last game of this series, and spawning in the bottom left as the red Protoss, it is MisterEvely.
And in the top right, we have the blue Terran Dust. I guess the other thing to note is that in the game so far, MisterEvely has been getting the third quite a bit sooner than Dust. So on a nice 3-base map like this, is that going to play into his favor, or is it going to mean that Dust is going to be able to get his third more sooner than he normally does, and kind of balance that advantage out? Here's to see both players just getting their stanchions in the indoor base, as you usually do, with the exception, at least when there aren't Zergs involved. It looks like pretty standard so far. So probably a proxyless series.
No proxies for you. I certainly do a lot of proxies, but that's like after I've proxied cannons.
MisterEvely actually trying to block this reactor here, but the Marine's going to pop out and should be able to push that probe away. Oh, is it going to kill the probe? Oh, one shot, it does actually kill that probe, so a little bit annoying. Not a huge deal, but that is going to be one probe less mining for a while.
Huh. I have no idea why this zealot is here. Was he late on his gas?
Huh. That's a good point. I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't notice he'd made that. So it's like, is he going to get the second stalker? No, he's getting... he wants to push back scouting because he's getting a fast robo this time.
Oh. That's interesting.
Put the Zealot on the low ground. That's kind of neat. The Reaper is going to fall back to the Zelnaga watchtower, and the Stalker's actually going to push out on the map. So I guess the Stalker's not going to care too much about denying the scouting anymore. I don't know, but definitely a build deviation here.
Yeah.
Where this is totally different than before. I'm curious what he's going to be, going for with this robo.
I have no idea. Double robo.
What?
Or no, I just looked at it wrong.
Okay.
It's just the first one.
Alright, an observer. So maybe this is just sort of get out observers for vision kind of thing, which I know has been a little bit, or has been a little popular. I've definitely heard about that. Where we...
I think he's gonna go into Colossus style, actually. Because he just dropped the, what is this thing called? Robotics Bay. And... yeah, he's going observer heavy, so... That's kind of curious, because... I kind of like this decision. He's played... like, in the event that he has practiced this style, the Colossus style is a little bit better at dealing with Terran players that focus on, like, parade pushes. Whereas the Blink style is more for, like, a dropping Terran. And yes, we've seen Dust drop every game, but it's only been that, those Widow Mines. After that, he just pushes.
Yep. These Widow Mines, which are about to come in, and there are still no Stalkers. These Stalkers just kind of sitting in the middle of the base. That's not really... I don't know, they're not really going to guard against anything there, so I'm not so sure about that.
This is a little bit curious positioning. I would rather see them in, like, the natural mineral line.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the most vulnerable place on this map. With this sort of triangle style of bases, you can't reach the main without going through the natural or the third. So you might as well put your units in one of those places. But these Widow Mines are just kind of sitting here for a while. I don't know if this is deliberately timed out or if this is just Dust, getting distracted and forgetting about it. But it's not really ideal from a, strategy perspective to invest in this and then just have it sit here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. He rushes his mine drop, but then he doesn't actually drop with it for, it gets there and then he almost forgets about it.
Yeah. Maybe at this point he's going to try and run the Reaper in to distract. But this Medevac's been waiting here for at least a minute. There's definitely not, good reason for that. Okay, the Reaper's going to run in and get some scouting. There's also a Marine here. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and at least he does bring the Widow Mines in. They do burrow. It doesn't look like there's a reaction here from MisterEvely. But the only 6 going down this time, one of them targeting a gas probe.
Yeah, that was...
Look at how many red probes are in the third base of MisterEvely. Yeah, I think that if Dust had manually targeted the second Widow Mine not on a probe going into gas, and if he maybe focus fired a bit at the third, he could have killed maybe 12 probes there.
Sure.
Which makes a big difference. He is up in supply again, which seems to basically have been the story of this. But the supply of MisterEvely is going to be upgraded Colossi, which is definitely going to be a lot more valuable than just Bio. And he does now have some stalkers sitting in behind his natural base. I think that's a good thing. Just leave those there the entire game, basically. Ooh, is there going to be a reaction to this?
Ow.
5 more go down. But the Widow Mines aren't going to be able to get out, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So it's not quite as painful as if they did. No 3rd Colossus, though. And 2 Warp Prisms just sitting in the base.
Okay.
Don't know entirely what's up with that.
I want to say that was supposed to be Colossi and maybe 1 Warp Prism? Maybe?
That would make sense. You know, 3 Colossi being a pretty common number to go for.
Yeah.
There's like 2 Colossi, you know, you're going through all the trouble getting thermal lands and stuff.
I don't know if you actually want to be working on those rocks. It's kind of hard to say, because, like, both of you benefit from the choke.
Yeah. There's only 1 siege tank here, which looks like it's actually just going to die here. These Marines are just going to get roasted by these Colossi that are just safely sitting behind. There's no Vikings or anything, and it's not looking good, I would say, for us. Although, actually, the Gateway units are starting to evaporate.
There's not enough tank, or units to tank for the Colossus, and now they're naked.
That whole fight was out of range of their shield batteries, too.
Yeah. Well, he gets a Liberator, and that gives him so much breathing room, because there's no more, like, siege potential. There's this 1 Widow Mine, which is really nothing. I mean, it can get a good connect, but it's gonna die before it gets a chance to do so. And, yeah,
big drop, actually.
I think this is... I mean, yeah, there's the drop... actually, I was gonna say it shouldn't do anything, because he should be aware that that's the next logical move of the Terran, but then his drop defense has been mediocre this game, or this series. Like,
he sees that there's no units outside his base, so...
Yeah.
You know, where did those units go is the question.
Right.
These stalkers aren't quite in the right position here.
No, he's not responding to this right. It's gonna hit the natural, and he's gonna lose a lot more probes. He is out across the map, and he can certainly get some strong counter attack damage done.
But he's gonna lose a base here.
That's...
So he needs to basically win the game here. Does he have a Warp Prism? He does have a Warp Prism to the south. And that Liberator's not in a good position either. So this looks pretty scary, actually.
Yeah.
The drop, I think, is flying back home when Just realizes this, but he's down in supply, and these Colossi are still unanswered, so... GG! Looks like that push is going to finish up the series with a 3-2 victory for MisterEvely.
Yeah, that was a really good Game 5. Good adaptation from MisterEvely, but it was still really close.
Yeah, definitely. That drop at the end did a lot of damage, but he just ended up not quite having enough at home.
Alrighty. Let me see what announcements we have. Okay. Today is Tuesday, and you have seen MisterEvely prevail over Dust 3-2. Tomorrow we don't have anything scheduled, but Thursday we have 2 Clan Wars, both at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Both of them are ATL EU Amateur Division matches, as we do have 2 teams, one under Miguel and one under Warbuffle. And then Saturday there will be our other ATL Americas, so our GMs will be playing then, and that will be at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. I'm Xenodactyl.
I'm Skizzy, yep.
And we'll see you guys next time.